Among the reactions to the death of retired four-star General Colin Powell today is the grim reminder that the pandemic is not over, particularly for the nation's elderly population. The nation's first black Secretary of State and chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff died today due to complications from COVID-19, according to his family. Though he was fully vaccinated, General Powell suffered from underlying conditions at age 84, including Parkinson's and multiple myeloma, which is a type of blood cell cancer that damages the body's immune system. The Powell family did not specify the complications he experienced or whether he had received a booster shot. Since the Delta variant has spread, vaccinated people over 80 years old have continued to fare significantly better than unvaccinated Americans in the same age group. But in a pandemic that has cost the lives of over 700,000 Americans, the reality is that elderly Americans like General Powell remain at risk of COVID-19. Joining me now to discuss is BNC Chief Medical Editor and Correspondent Dr. Corey Hérbert. Dr. Hérbert, the sad reality is that the vaccinated people over 80 years old have died at higher rates than even some unvaccinated younger people, according to the CDC. Help us to put all of this into perspective.
Well, Charles, the first thing I'd like to say is that we lost an elder statesman today. I have met Colin Powell and met him many times, and I like to call him graceful, and I don't usually use that for a man. He was a graceful, intentional man, and he was vaccinated the best way that he could know how to be. And I'm appalled by a lot of the folks that are, now with the anti-vax movement saying things like, well, he was vaccinated and he died, so I'm not going to get vaccinated. Colin Powell had multiple myeloma, which is a very aggressive, serious bone and blood cancer. He was immunocompromised. He was receiving treatment for this immunocompromised state, and he also was getting chemo. And this had been going on for a while, so he had no intact immune system, and he's 84 years old. If Colin Powell had died today without complications of COVID-19, he would have been received as an 84-year-old man that died, because 84-year-old men die all the time. But now it's turning into a political anti-vax situation because they're saying he had his vaccine and he died anyway, which is appalling to me. When you don't have an intact immune system, COVID-19 can attack you and it will kill you. That is the bottom line. And when you are getting vaccinated, you have to have an intact immune system for the vaccination to actually work appropriately. You still need to get vaccinated because you're going to have some level of protection. But when you have no immune system, then a vaccination can't really boost your immunity to where you would be considered very safe. And with Parkinson's and advanced age, if you get COVID-19, it's going to be a very rough course for you.
Right. I mean, you lay out two really important factors, both age and underlying conditions. But even if he didn't have those, even if he was younger, there's a small portion of people, even if they get vaccinated, may still suffer, real consequences from the pandemic, and some may still die. How do we stop people from taking these exceptional cases and trying to apply them as the rule? If Colin Powell is now the rule for how, even if you get vaccinated, you can still die, so why bother? How do we educate people out of that? How do we reiterate the numbers in a way that makes it make sense and make it simple and easy for people to digest?
Yeah, Charles, I'm not sure how you do that at this point. The people that have not been vaccinated at this point have dug in so deep. We know, by and large, people that get vaccinated don't have extended hospital stays. They don't die from COVID-19. I mean, we're at over the 90% mark. Vaccinations do not in any way 100% prevent a disease. And that's not a COVID-19 vaccine, that's every vaccine. And we think about things as prevention, right? So let's think about a safety belt in the car. A safety belt decreases your risk of dying, but I have had to unbuckle a safety belt from someone who was dead, who was in a car and had their safety belt on, and they still died in the car. now in the car crash. But the reality was this person that died in the car crash did everything they could to try to decrease their risk of dying from a car crash. It doesn't mean that it eliminates it. And so that's what a vaccine is. And people want a panacea. There is no panacea for medicine. That's why it's called the practice of medicine. Things are constantly evolving. And the only thing you can do, Charles, is to mitigate your exposure and mitigate your risk as much as possible so that you can try to continue on in a normal life. So, people that are trying to exploit this, and I will say this to them, don't you dare exploit this great man's character and exploit this horrible situation for an anti-vax movement. And I tell people that I've said that all day, and I challenge anyone to come on BNC at any point to challenge that, because we as a people have not been vaccinated enough, and we're dying more than anybody else.
Dr. Hérbert, you explained how multiple myeloma would compromise a person and make them more susceptible to being ill and possibly dying of COVID-19. But how does Parkinson's play into that? How does it also make you more exposed and more vulnerable?
Well, it's very interesting. We don't know a lot about how Parkinson's interacts with the immune system. But what we do know is that when you have a chronic illness, so you have anemia of chronic disease, when you have a chronic illness, your entire body has a response that has a decreased immunity, because your body is working so hard to try to get to a point where you can fight off or inhibit the illness that's coming to you in your body at that time. So any type of chronic disease can cause an immunity decrease. And that's what we see across the board, especially in Parkinson's disease. And the mechanisms are still mildly, we're still trying to wrap our minds around what the mechanisms are. But Parkinson's is no different than any other chronic disease that you may have that will cause your immune system to be compromised at some point, especially at the 84-year-old mark.
As you mentioned before, Black people are being disproportionately affected by COVID-19, but in general, elderly people have actually seized on the opportunity to get the vaccine. They have gotten the vaccinated higher rates than younger people. The family did not say whether or not Colin Powell had gotten a booster shot. But what do we know about boosters and the Black population, and whether or not we are keeping up with the pace of the rest of the population?
Well, we're not keeping up with the pace of the rest of the population with any vaccination effort at all, whether it be first, second, or third shot. What we do know is that probably, and I cannot speak in fact here, but probably if Colin Powell had been in the hospital for an extended period of time, he may not have gotten the booster. And those are the types of facts we do not know. Had he gotten the booster, it probably would have increased his antibodies. But in his state of multiple myeloma and getting treated for that, when you are getting chemotherapy, Charles, what happens is the reason why people's hair falls out when they get chemotherapy is because when you have to get chemotherapy, we are killing almost every cell in your body. We're trying to be as selective as possible for the actual cancer cells, but we are having to kill other cells that may be very sensitive to the medicine that we're giving to kill the cancer cells. Hair cells are very sensitive to that, and that's why your hair falls out when you get chemotherapy. Okay, so when we are talking about a person of that age getting chemotherapy for multiple myeloma, Colin Powell probably had no immune system. Basically, he probably had. We talk about immune system by a number called the absolute neutrophil count, or ANC. And if that number is low, then that means that you really have no ability to fight off infection at all. And Colin Powell's ANC could have been zero. Especially a lot of people's ANC is zero when they're going through chemotherapy. And that is something, when we have that type of person, then we have to keep them in these reverse isolation rooms. So anybody coming in can give them a cold and they can die from it. So that's the way, people were having to probably deal with Colin Powell when he was in the hospital.
Dr. Corey Hérbert, thank you for being with us tonight. Really appreciate it.